Hold out your hand. Now look at your fingernail. You could fit over 1 million human cells on it. And that's just the beginning of how wrong your sense of scale actually is. Let's start small, smaller than you can picture. A single grain of sand contains roughly 2 quintillion atoms. That's a 2 followed by 18 zeros inside something you could lose in your carpet. Zoom into just one of those atoms, and the nucleus at its center is so small that if the atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be a single grain of sand sitting on the 50-yard line. Everything else, the entire volume of the atom, is empty space. You, right now, are made almost entirely of nothing. Zoom back out. You are made of roughly 37 trillion cells, each one a self-contained machine running thousands of chemical reactions every second without you noticing a single one. Stack every blood vessel in your body end to end, and it would stretch about 60,000 miles, enough to circle the Earth twice. And that's just what's happening inside one human being, standing on one planet, in one corner of one galaxy. Zoom in one more time before we go big. Uncoil the DNA inside a single one of your cells, and it stretches about 6 feet long. Multiply that by the trillions of cells in your body, and the combined length of all your DNA would reach the sun and back well over 100 times, a distance measured in hundreds of billions of miles, coiled up tightly enough to fit inside something invisible to the naked eye. You have never seen it, never felt it, and it has been quietly running the instructions for your entire existence since before you were born. Now let's zoom out from there. And this is where things stop making sense. Earth is about 8,000 miles across. If you shrank the Earth down to the size of a basketball, the moon would be a tennis ball, sitting 24 feet away. On that same scale, the sun would be a sphere over 8 feet wide, roughly 2.5 miles from Earth. Neptune, the farthest planet, would be more than 90 miles away. That's the entire solar system, on a scale you could theoretically drive across in an afternoon, and it would still take hours. But the solar system isn't big, not by the universe's standards. Light, the fastest thing that exists, moving at 186,000 miles every single second, takes 8 minutes to reach us from the Sunday. It takes over 5 hours to reach Neptune, and it takes 4.2 years to reach the nearest star beyond our sun, Proxima Centauri. Not 4.2 years to look at it, 4.2 years just for its light, moving at the fastest speed physics allows, to arrive here. If you launched the fastest spacecraft humans have ever built toward it, you wouldn't get there in your lifetime. You wouldn't get there in 10 lifetimes. It would take over 6,000 years. And Proxima Centauri is our next-door neighbor. Our sun is one of an estimated 100 to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. If you tried to count them one per second without stopping to eat or sleep, it would take you over 3,000 years to finish counting our galaxy alone. The Milky Way itself is about 100,000 light-years across, meaning light, again moving at 186,000 miles per second, needs 100,000 years just to cross from one side to the other. Our entire solar system, the thing that felt so vast a few minutes ago, is a single dot lost inside one arm of that spiral, roughly 2/3 of the way out from the center. Now zoom out again, and here the universe stops being just big and starts being genuinely strange. The Milky Way isn't alone. It travels with roughly 80 other galaxies in a gravitationally bound cluster called the local group, which is itself just one small piece of the far larger Virgo supercluster. But even that isn't the real structure. Zoom out further, and every galaxy you've just seen turns out to be part of something bigger still, a cosmic web of filaments called Laniakea, stretching over 500 million light-years, all of it slowly flowing toward a single point of unusually strong gravity astronomers call, appropriately, the Great Attractor. We don't fully know what's there. We only know it's pulling us toward it, and it took scientists decades just to detect that pull at all. Right now, every galaxy you can see, including our own, is falling towards something we still can't explain, and even Laniakea is not the edge. There are an estimated 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. The nearest one, Andromeda, sits 2.5 million light-years away, meaning the light reaching your eyes tonight left before modern humans existed. Some galaxies are so distant that their light has taken over 13 billion years to arrive, which means we're not just looking at a faraway place, we're looking at the past, a version of the universe that no longer looks the way we're seeing it. Here's the number that breaks most people's sense of scale completely. The observable universe is 93 billion light-years across, not miles, light-years, each one equal to nearly 6 trillion miles. And observable is doing a lot of work in that sentence because it only counts the part whose light has had time to reach us since the Big Bang. The actual universe may be far larger, possibly infinite. We may never know, because light, the fastest messenger that exists, simply hasn't had enough time to bring us the rest of the story. Some physicists suspect it doesn't stop there at all, that our universe might be one bubble among countless others, each with its own laws of physics, forever out of reach. So far, everything you've just seen has been about space, but there's a second axis of scale just as hard to hold in your head: time. Picture the entire 13.8 billion year history of the universe compressed into a single calendar year, starting at the first second of January 1st. On that scale, the Big Bang happens right at midnight. The Milky Way doesn't finish forming until March. Our Sun and Earth don't exist yet until early September. The planet you're standing on is 9 months late to a year-long party. The first simple life appears by late September. Dinosaurs don't show up until December 24th, and they're already gone again by December 30th. Every human who has ever lived, every war, every empire, every book ever written, everything you'd call history, happens in the final 30 seconds before midnight on December 31st. You, specifically, exist for a fraction of a single second, in the very last instant of the very last day of a year-long universe. Space makes you feel small. Time makes you feel like you barely happened at all. So let's put this all together. You are standing on a rock, 8,000 miles wide, orbiting a star that's one of 200 billion, in a galaxy that's one of 2 trillion, inside a cosmic web stretching hundreds of millions of light-years, inside a universe so vast that even light, the fastest thing that can exist, hasn't finished crossing it in 13.8 billion years. And yet, inside you, right now, roughly 37 trillion cells are running trillions of reactions a second, built from atoms that are almost entirely empty space, atoms that were themselves forged inside a star that died before our solar system even existed. You are, at the exact same time, almost too small to matter, barely a flicker on the timeline of everything, and made of material older than the Earth itself. The universe didn't have to make anything capable of understanding any of this. No law of physics required a species that could look up, calculate the distance to a star it will never visit, and feel something looking at the number. And yet, here you are, a temporary arrangement of ancient atoms, on a small rock, in a small corner of an unimaginably large and unimaginably old universe, doing exactly that.